Well, hey, what's going on? Nick Kirby here with Chatterbox Reds. Before we get to today's interview, I want to send a special thanks to our friends at 1410 Wing AM. That's ESPN Radio in Dayton. Justin Kenner was so kind to partner with Chatterbox Sports for some exclusive interviews down at Redsfest that I am really excited for you all to get to see. Be sure to check out the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. That is 3 to 6 on 1410 Wing AM in Dayton. And as always, special thanks to our proud sponsor of Chatterbox Reds, DSC Commodities. DSC is a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Thanks so much to John and everyone down at DSC for partnering here with Chatterbox Reds. All right. Well, here's to today's interview.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. Justin Kenner, Nick Kirby, Chatterbox Sports, live here on 1410 ESPN Radio in Dayton, Ohio. We are Dayton's radio home of the Cincinnati Reds. And, of course, as we sit here live at Redsfest, Duke Energy Convention Center, the buzz and excitement surrounding Reds baseball, it's just night and day how far we've come from just a season ago. Everyone's super jacked for the season. The season just ended, technically, the full baseball season just a month and some change ago. And everyone's jacked up and ready to go for next year's Reds season, of course. But, Nick, I'm excited to bring on our next guest. I'll let you introduce him.
Yeah, Will Benson. Really excited to have Will Benson coming off a really great season last year. This is your first Reds Fest. How are you feeling about this event so far?
I'm very happy. You guys make me happy. The fans are amazing, so I feel warm inside from all of my interactions with you guys, so thank you.
Yeah, we forgot when you were acquired by the Reds. It was February, so it was like well after all of this stuff had wrapped up. Reds Fest, the caravan, all those fun things that was done. So when you come in, you find out you're coming to Cincinnati. Just what was your initial thought a year ago? Before you even knew what kind of special season it was going to be. Your initial thoughts. You didn't have to move far. You didn't have to move far at all.
It was honestly challenging. It was tough from the sense of I had a son on the way. My now wife is pregnant. I was pregnant at the time, so it was a lot of uncertainty. And I try to take everything one step at a time, and I just feel like a lot of things were rushing at me at once. But thankfully, that's the power of family. I was embraced by family, and the transition was smooth. It was right down the street, right? I didn't have to go to Florida. I didn't have to go anywhere across Arizona. I simply just had to go down the street. So that made things a little bit easier for sure. And then I just got settled in, and it was cool to be a part of something so special because, again, a lot of the players there were kind of around my age, also new to the league as well. So I felt really comfortable and embraced by the players that were there once I finally made that transition over.
So once you got to Cincinnati, you had a really whirlwind year last year. You had a great spring training, struggled a little bit in April, went back down to AAA, worked on some things, came back up. What did you do in AAA that allowed you to come back up, and you were legitimately one of the best hitters in baseball from the time you came back up through the end of the year?
In reality, I feel like I freed my mind of the tension, the stress of it all. That's why I'm thankful for my son, because my son gave me a refreshing mindset in the sense of I can't give up. I can't quit because then I can't teach him those type of morals if I don't live it. So that for me in AAA was kind of my motive or my motto. Hey, I'm just going to go in here today and put my best foot forward and try to learn. And I'm very grateful for the environment down there in AAA. I was just talking back there, with Jamie. It's essentially they wanted me back up. So I felt the push, on my back to kind of keep moving. And then I just started playing my game, do what I do. And it kind of was just like, all right, like, this is how I play the game. This is who I am. Like, I'm a great baseball player, and then that just kind of catapulted me back to the big leagues.
I think that's what's most impressive, too. I think as fans, sometimes we just, at times, baseball players, robots, right? Oh, they're called out. They're sent back down. They're called back up. We forget about the emotions that go into that, and even the emotions for David Bell, who has to deliver that news to you. The team has to deliver that news. But take us back to that, the headspace, because that I can't imagine how tough that could be. Like, you want to get in a groove. You have to get sent back down to AAA. To be as mentally tough as you, to not look at that as a demotion but more of an opportunity, and you capitalize on that opportunity, and as Nick said, came back and were just on fire from the time you came back. What happened during that stretch mentally as you prepared to obviously hit your way back into the major league lineup?
Yeah, I'm a man of faith, so it took a lot of prayer. It took a lot of redirection, redirecting my thought pattern. So I am not a robot. I'm as human as they come, in that sense. But, after a lot of prayer, my thought process was simply like, if I'm going to be a big leaguer, I have to learn how to be a big leaguer. And the only way to learn how to be a big leaguer is be in the big leagues. It's that simple. It's funny how those things that are simple can be complicated, but it was really that simple. And so I took that fresh perspective into it. I'm just learning how to be an everyday good big leaguer. And thankfully enough, just the support that I got. I had a conversation with TJ Friedel when we were in Chicago. Had a conversation with Votto on the flight back, or no, actually the flight to Boston. And I feel like after that, those two conversations and a little bit of success, you combine those two, and that's enough to fuel the fire. And then obviously, as you saw, like we went on to Boston, Dick went crazy. Went to Houston, went crazy there. I played well in Houston. It was just like a tumbling effect, and then it kind of was just like, man, I can do this. Like I can dominate this game if I continue to go on the stretch. That's
huge too, because with young players, if they run into a slump and they get sent back down to AAA, they're gonna be able to use your experience and say, hey, this isn't a bad thing. It's an opportunity more than anything else. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm honest when I say these things. I really pray for that type of experience that other players can lean on. Hopefully, again, somehow, some way, the player that needs to see my story or hear my story can be encouraged by it and live out their best lives based off of my shortcomings and my triumphs as well.
You had one of those signature moments last year against the Dodgers, that walk-off home run, had an incredible celebration. What was that moment like for you?
Yeah.
Take us back.
Yeah, I blacked out, obviously. A lot of people are, crazy about the bat slam. That's just pure emotion, rush of everything coming down to that single moment. I think it's funny leading up to that at bat. I was in the outfield in my mind, knowing I was going to come up in that situation and just knowing I was going to do it. So that's a surreal, thought to have. And then for me to actually execute it, I think, again, that's what just leads up to me, slamming my bat so ferociously. And then, again, I'm turning around. I see my teammates, India. I can vividly remember his face and just at the edge of the dugout. And then coming around the bases, just really just not even comprehending a lot. Just incomplete, just happiness and just ecstatic, and then coming to home plate and seeing everybody there, cheering me on and going crazy. It was surreal. A moment, again, I'll never, ever forget in my life. So, yeah, very grateful for it.
Nick, I don't know if Mo Egger's here anywhere, but I know he's a big fan of the bat flips and the celebrations and stuff.
Yeah.
And do you like that? Do you think there needs to be more of that in baseball? You guys work your tails off when something great happens. You should be able to celebrate and not have to worry about someone plunking you the next time you step up in the box.
Yeah, I think the game is getting better at that, just simply because they understand that's what people want to see. That's what some fans really enjoy. It's a form of expression, so a player can express himself in that manner. And yeah, it's swaggy, you know what I mean? If I hit a home run and I know I got it, and I got it, so don't be mad. You strike me out, you do your little dance or whatnot. So for sure, if I hit a home run, and I know it's gone, I'm a pimp it, There's no problem to it.
First of all, that's awesome. But second of all, real quick, if a pitcher strikes you out, they show the bat. Not only showing the batters up, but they get to show emotion.
Yeah,
so why shouldn't you be?
Yeah, they flex their biceps and do their little scream or whatever. It's all good. It's all. I'm gonna catch you the next inning for sure. But it's all good, man. And for me too. You guys saw me hit some home runs. I don't take 20 seconds to get around the bases. You know what I mean? I'm still kind of got a little giddy up. So it's all a part of the game. It's a little fun.
So the Reds active in free agency this week, signing 2 pitchers, Martinez and Pagan. That added the excitement coming here to this event today. And have you faced either one of those guys so far in your career?
No, I haven't faced them. I saw Emilio throw when I was with the Guardians at the time, so I've seen him pitch. Yeah, I mean, you guys should be excited. I think those are great pickups. I think, again, it just shows the people in the front office are working hard and aware of the areas that we need to, get better in or improve on. I'm excited to see it just like anything. I mean, I've experienced them for just this Redsfest so far. They seem like pretty good, good people. And I'm excited to get to learn and know them more as the season goes on next year.
The one thing that's been the theme of today with everyone that we've talked to, just the youth movement in Cincinnati. And, there's a lot of different ways to build a team. You can go out and acquire as many free agents as you can and build a team that way, or this way, which is much more organic, and it just welcomes fans in more when we see players who've been developed through the system that come up. You feel like you're a part of their journey. And then when they reach that success point at the major league level, it just makes it that much more special. So the youth movement that's taken over in Cincinnati, of course, you come into Cincinnati earlier in the year, of course, but just what was your overall vibe of last season, just your takeaway? Like, how far into the season before you're like, man, we got something special here, and, like, taking that momentum into next season or to this upcoming season, just the biggest thing that you're most excited about?
Yeah, I mean, first part to that question, sorry, is like that 13-game winning streak. Yeah, that for me just solidified how good of a team we are, how good of a team we can be. We were beating some good teams in that stretch as well. So that for me was kind of like the moment in time, I think, where we all realized like this is something bigger than ourselves. The way that the city connected with us too after that win streak, you guys were very instrumental in just in your guys' support and showing up, especially when we were in that winning streak. So that was like the beginning of when I knew, we are on to something. And again, like you said, it was a young core. A lot of the production, a lot of the reasons why we were winning was because of that young core. Guys who were stepping up, pitchers that were stepping up. The bullpen was going crazy. I mean, they were incredible. And I knew when we were at the halfway point, right? We were the division leaders at that point, right? Yeah. And it just so happened we come back, maybe not the best comeback, after the All-Star break. Other teams were just not losing either. So I think going into next year, and I've said this in other interviews, I think the biggest thing is obviously, as you guys saw, is cashing in on those games in the middle of the summer and those dog days. We're either 2-3, we're up 2-3, like just really cashing in those games, not giving them away, so that when we come to late August, September, when we're all a little bit tired, we're not scratching and clawing like we were this. And I think we have the talent, we have the poise. Very pleased with our poise. Like, we're a very calm, young group. It's probably the calmest young group that I've ever been a part of. But we're unfazed, and I think that's a big strength. So I think going into next year, we continue to have that type of poise, but also that ferocious tenacity, to dominate in those dog days of summer. I think we're going to be right where we want to be come September.
Very nice.
So the rule changes last year, it felt like you obviously stole a lot of bases.
Not enough.
Not enough? You want to steal more next year?
Yeah.
All right. Do you feel like the rule changes were good for the sport overall? Obviously, you had dealt with them a little bit more in the minor leagues and some of the other veteran guys. But did you like the pitch clock? Did you like the bigger bases?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it cut out a lot of the unnecessary time where we're just kind of like lollygagging around. Put a little pace to the game for sure. And I know you fans really enjoyed it. It being 2 hour and 45-minute game, not being an unnecessary 3:45. So I really enjoyed it. I actually got introduced to it in the minor leagues. So, making that transition in the big leagues was not hard for me because I had already done a year of it, and it was very seamless for me. But in terms of the number of pickoffs and things of that nature, to be really honest, I think it definitely benefits us, but in my opinion, it didn't happen enough to where it was like, oh, this guy's picked off twice. Now I have the opportunity to run. Like, I didn't have that myself. Maybe that'll start happening, when I have more stolen bases. But, I overall, I think the rule changes have definitely impacted the game in the correct manner.
Which rule do you think made the biggest difference? Was it the banning of the shift? What was the biggest rule change?
Funnily enough, I'll just comment on the shift. I think the shift was great. Still, they found a way to cut off some of those holes. Somehow, some way, they found a way to take that ball away. But I think my favorite one, though, definitely was a pitch clock. It just added pace. It added tempo to the game. I think there wasn't as much sitting around, waiting around. It was definitely there was definitely pace to it naturally.
You talked about the mental side of the game. Do you feel like the shorter pitch clock makes it easier for you as a hitter not to get in your own head too much, just go right into the box and step up to the plate?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a natural flow to it. You look at other fast-paced sports, being, basketball or even soccer. A lot of those sports are very just like fluid. The thought process when you're actually playing. I play basketball, so the thought process when you play basketball is very like quick action, go, quick decisions. So when you have that pitch clock, you're going, and it's a chess match. But then it makes the chess match a little bit more like versatile, if that makes sense. Like I'm making decisions on the fly. It helped me simplify a lot of things because again I don't have much time to think too deep in it too. So I really like that whole aspect of the clock and how it just kind of like speeds up all of that process. Because guys before the game, they prepare, right? Like we're all prepared. So we know what he likes to do. They know what I hit well and what I don't. So it definitely gives it a more action type of feel. At least that's what I felt about.
I was like in the minority on this heading into the season when everyone was talking about like pace of play and all that. And I'm like, if you love baseball, I don't want it to hurry up and go. If you go to a movie, you don't, spend good money to go see a movie and say, man, I hope this movie hurry. I just want this movie to end as quick as possible. Yeah. If you go to a concert, man, I hope they only play three of their hits because I need to be home. So I was wrong because that was my mindset heading in. Like if the product's good, you want more of it. Who wants to pay all that money to get less of the product? But I was wrong because just tuning in and just listen, whether it's listening on radio or just watching, just the pace. It's obviously pace of play, but just the flow of the game is honestly, it just made the game cleaner and smoother. And it was just like you go to commercial break, you come back, boom, the pitcher's there, the guy's in the box ready to go. It was a much more aesthetically pleasing product last season, no doubt.
I mean, to parallel, like if you're in a movie, you would like a great movie, not a 4-hour movie though. Yeah. Like you would like a 2.5-hour movie if it's gonna all be the same product, right? Like I'm the same way. Like I do not want to damage the product at all. Like you guys, the fans, the game itself deserves a great game, right? Like the players are better now. The things are more explosive now. Guys are more athletic now. Like you never want to damage the product. We're in a space, we're in a time, we're in an era of really great baseball players. Like a really fun game because of the skill level of the players, and I never would want to damage that product because we all deserve it in this lifetime. This is our life. Like we're living in it, so we deserve the best product.
All right, well, Nick, if you have, do you have anything else before we let him get back to the rest of Redsfest?
Well, you said you played basketball. Do you have a basketball team? You like watching NBA or college during the off season?
Yeah, I'm a big NBA fan. I have to, not necessarily I have to, but I like to represent my Atlanta Hawks because I'm from Atlanta. They are playing a little inconsistent right now, but there's still flashes of really goodness, real good players. But I'm a fan of players. I love basketball players. I love the skill level of some of these basketball players. So yeah, I love the game.
Do you play a little bit of pickup in the off season?
No, I did in the past, but I can't now. I'm too dedicated to baseball to mess up with anything like that.
The higher ups really love that answer.
Yeah, for sure. Any Castellini, Crawl, y'all hear me?
Yes.
I know y'all hear me.
That 3-point contest, that's where it ended. That's where the basketball stuff ended.
I do a couple layups.
Hey, before you can you explain what the heck is the in-season tournament in the NBA?
It's actually
they put the cool courts out there. I just don't understand it. To be honest,
I think it adds a little flash, but I didn't think about it this way. Somebody said this too. Like for the players who don't have like the bigger contracts, when you go in this in-season tournament, there's a bonus obviously for the winner, so they're getting a little bit extra bread in their pocket. But yeah, it's essentially an in-season tournament. I think the point was to bring a level of competitiveness to the games early on in the season. So definitely with the new cool colored courts and the new jerseys, and then having the tournament in Vegas, I think it added, the necessary flash. The commissioner was smart, in doing that. But at the same time, the real championship, as we know, is the NBA Finals. But they were able to put a little competitiveness with that tournament. So I like it. I like watching
So
the
LeBron's
games.
not going for his 5th ring with this in-season tournament.
Right?
Is that
No,
okay?
no.
I wouldn't mind that, using that as my
Right?
argument,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
you
Just
know.
leverage. He's the best player ever. Yeah.
But all right, Will Benson, everybody, awesome enough to spend some time with us here. Justin Kidder, Nick Kirby, live here at Redsfest. Will Benson, everybody.
If you like today's video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to Chatterbox Sports here on YouTube for great sports content all season long. We really appreciate your support. Also recommend hit that bell up in the top right corner. That'll turn on notifications so you're notified anytime we go live. And speaking of live, we have got plenty of shows for you here on Chatterbox Sports. Let's run through some of them for you. First off, we have Off the Bench, our flagship show that is from 10 to noon, Monday through Friday, with host Tom Brenneman and a cast of characters talking all things sports with you. We also have Chatterbox Bengals. Those guys go live after every single Bengals game with instant reaction, so be sure to check that out live after every Bengals game. We have Chatterbox Clicker with Coach Kyle Caskey, former Bengals coach. That's typically on Tuesday nights. Coach Caskey breaks down film with a show that you can't see anything anywhere else like. We have Mac and JT Wednesday nights. The guys cover all things NFL. We have our newest show, Chatterbox Bearcats. That's with host Charlie Walter. Covers all things UC sports. They go live on YouTube after every UC basketball game. And then they also have the podcast called The Chatter. Charlie Walter and Houdini talking all things sports in a fun and more comedic style way. And then, of course, we also have the show I'm a part of, Chatterbox Reds. Currently during the off season, we typically do a show about once a week. Also get some more content for you. But of course, once the season starts, we'll have podcasts after every single spring training game up for in the morning, and then live shows on YouTube after all 162 games, and podcasts always available the next morning. And lastly, be sure to check out the Chatterbox shop. That is on chatterboxsports.com. All kinds of apparel for everyone. You won't want to miss that.